Welcome to Out and Down, or some people may think of it, Down and Out. I'm your host, welcome to the podcast. I've taken some time off. It was really me just debating, do I want to continue being alone with no guest host? I was trying to figure out if I wanted to be a singular host or if I wanted to have a friend on every week, but I've decided to bite the bullet and go ahead and do this by myself. This is something that I never pictured really doing, having a podcast by myself. It's one of those things where can you really sit in a room and talk to yourself for 45, 50 minutes and make it interesting for an audience? So we're going to go ahead and see how this goes. So for my listeners, I've been talking about going to Kings Island every episode, at least once. And you know what I did? I finally went to Kings Island, guys. Oh my god. It was so much fun. So, I am 25 years old now. Last time I recorded, I was 24. So, I turned 25, and I was thinking to myself, am I too old to enjoy roller coasters now? Because roller coasters is definitely a thing for, like, teenagers, like 12 plus, I guess tween plus. And I was like, maybe my stomach's not used to it anymore. Like, let's go on some small stuff, and then we'll work our way up. Dude, I tell you, after that first one, amazing, wonderful. I can go on a roller coaster every single day. It is so fun. I don't understand how there's people out there who don't like scary movies, roller coasters, what have you. But I tell you what, after that time where they're starting to do Halloween Haunt, I had to get the fuck out of there. There was no way I was going to endure some horror actors running after me. No way. Ain't no way that was happening. So we left, I think it was either like 6:01, 7:01 or something, when the horror actors come out. We were 2 minutes after the time, and I was running out of there. I was booking it. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna stay here for that. You cannot pay me enough money to stay for the entirety of Halloween Haunt. I am way too much of a baby for that. And it's just one of those things I can't do. Like, I remember when I was like a freshman in high school, we went to one in the suburbs of Cincinnati, and it was something that like a bunch of kids in my grade were doing, even like middle schoolers were also doing it. And I shit you not, pun intended, I must have taken like 3 shits before I went to this because I was so scared. I was so scared. And then at the end, I was like, is this really worth it? Like, who enjoys this? And then you think about how there's people out there that go to torture houses where they pay a bunch of money and they sign a contract that they're not liable for injury or whatever. When there's people that get choked out and like get suffocated and like almost drown. And I'm just like, why would you want to do that to yourself? Like, you're going to be having nightmares about that for the rest of your life. I don't understand it. And I'm now at the point where I can watch a scary movie by myself and be fine. But it's worth watching because I do like the adrenaline, but I could not handle the adrenaline IRL. Like, I can pause a movie that's too scary and, like, walk away and take deep breaths, like, hide my face under a sheet. If there's somebody IRL chasing you, I'm fucking freaking out. There's no way. Ain't no way that's happening. Fuck that. Like, no thank you. However, would I want to scare people in the costumes? Yes, that would be incredible. Or my good friend Jacob works there, and he actually was able to cop us some free tickets. Thank you so much, by the way, Jacob, if you're listening. I really appreciate it. But he works sound and lighting and stuff for the production stuff. If I did that, I think I could also be fine. But being there as like somebody who doesn't work there, no thank you. So speaking of work, I don't really know if I work at the restaurant anymore. Like, that's a big maybe. And like, I worked at the restaurant for 5 years, on and off, not very much off, mostly on. And I feel like maybe it's just time to let go, you know? And it's like, what point do you really let go of like your college job completely? I think I might be over it, honestly. But I'm definitely going to miss the free food from restaurant. Restaurant food really good. Yum yum. Restaurant food. Oh man. Oh, I also, since we're in the spooky season, I had a Halloween party, and I don't know why it was so embarrassing to win my own Halloween costume contest. Like, I dressed up as Sexy Ice King, and I won my own prize. Granted, it was like a $25 gift card to like a big department store / grocery store, so very generic, but like I was like asking my roommate, and I was like, hey, can you bring the prize down here? I don't want to give the prize to myself, because I was hosting and I won, which I think was rightfully deserved. I dressed all up in blue paint, and then I also got some like mummy type bandages and made myself like some underwear and like a bra type thing out of it. And it was definitely uncomfortable because like I also had long hair and a beard, but it was so fun, and I would totally make my own costume again. It's so much better than going to the Halloween stores, because yeah, is the costume like all together, but none of them really look that good. I feel like every year the Halloween costumes get cheaper, but they get more expensive. So they're cheaper to make, but they cost like $80, and it's not worth it. So I'm definitely going to start making my own. So last month, my birthday weekend, I finally went to Riot Fest, and I tell you what, it was actually like a dream come true. There was one day where like it rained too much and my shoes got all muddy and gross, but it's so worth it. I literally had the time of my life. Could have been like slightly better, yeah, but it could have been way worse than it was. It was such a good time. And I tell you what, seeing the Postal Service play their first album made my life. I could have died happy on the way home from Riot Fest. I had such a good time. And like I even saw The Cure live. Phenomenal. Did I cry during some performances? Hell yeah, I did. Great time. And I would say that it is weird watching some of your favorite bands play in broad daylight, and you can just like see everything around you. That is super different than like going to like a small show. But dude, I tell you what, $200 something for 3 days, seeing like so many bands, definitely worth it. Was the Airbnb more than the tickets? Yeah. But maybe I'll just start having to go to hotels, because hotels are cheaper and they're a little bit nicer. But it is nice to feel like I did live in Chicago in an apartment, and I'd definitely go back. When I was in high school, I thought one day I'd move to Chicago, and then I went there and I was like, way too many people, way too much traffic, terrible drivers. And we also went to a hole-in-the-wall bar, and I paid for mine and my boyfriend's drinks. And I think I also paid for my best friend's drink as well. 3 beverages, so like 2 mixed drinks and a beer, $50. And for what? For what? This was a hole-in-the-wall bar. This was not some fancy, artsy, fartsy, you know, like $15 cocktails type of place, but it also was at the same time. Why? Why is alcohol so expensive in Chicago? What are they doing there? I don't understand. Because I can go to the nicest place in Cincinnati and find a nice cocktail, usually under $20. Usually. I mean, the places I go, the hole-in-the-wall places, I'm not paying more than $8. You know what? I'm not paying more than $10, because I do love espresso martinis. I'm topping it. I think the most I'd spend on a nice cocktail would be $16. But I like the lower range. You know what I mean? And it's not like I get cocktails very often. That's a very niche. Not niche. That's very rare of me to get a cocktail. I'm either getting a Guinness, or lately I've been dabbling in wine. And I thought I was allergic to wine for the longest time. But I think each time I've had wine, like the last 2 times I had wine before I started drinking it again, I got like horrible migraines. And I think it was just stress. And then the other time I think it was food poisoning. Because me and my best friend do friendiversary, and we went to one of the nicest places in town. Like, I paid for both of us. It was like over $100. And, it's once a year, you really gotta show out. And I believe I got a burger or something, and it was like pink. And I'm like, oh, this is like a chef restaurant. I'm fine. I'm good. Should not have eaten it. Should have sent it back. But it's one of those things. I'm the type of person where if my order's wrong or if it's bad, I'm just going to suck it up and eat it and then tip the regular amount. Like, I'm not going to say anything. Very rarely will I leave like a Google review. If I leave a Google review, it's 5 stars or 4 stars. You will not catch me writing a bad review. And I'm also the same way about clothes. If I buy something that doesn't fit, it's mine. I don't know what to do with it. I'll maybe give it to a friend or donate it. I'm not returning clothes. And recently for my Halloween costume, I went to, granted, it was a sex shop. I bought a corset for like $100. I could have sworn it was $50. And I was like, I'm also one of those people, I go up to the counter. Oh, $100? Yeah, cool. I'll buy it. Try to take it back the following week. They said they couldn't accept it because they don't take any returns of any kind. It was just a white corset. And I tell you what, this thing, horrible. It's ugly, pure white. And I've been thinking about dyeing it black and like maybe adding some sort of gems or something to it, make it really cool and like aesthetically pleasing. But right now it's just so tacky. It's so tacky. Ew. And I can't believe that women used to wear corsets every day. That's horrible. Horrible. So during my little break, I've been dating somebody. And I tell you what, it's so different dating somebody who's actually compatible and healthy with you compared to dating anybody else. So here's a fun story. When I was like 18-ish, I started dating this guy that was older than me. And I knew he was in a serious relationship for a while because I'd see him around the hallways at school when I was like in younger grades when he still went there. We went through this thing where I didn't find out that he had, quote, broken up with this girl, unquote, 2 weeks before we started dating until way later. And he was hiding all the stuff that she was posting about him online from his profile. Obviously, I didn't think that I should have added, the recent ex. That's like a really weird, petty thing to do. So we had started dating for a while. And then we obviously broke up because I'm like, you're basically cheating on both of us. Like, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. Like, I'm a kid. Like, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do career, like, life-wise. I just graduated high school. I don't know what's going on. And so I'm not sure the actual timeline of these events. So it's just going to be jumbled up. If you really want to stalk and find out, you can, but I'm not going to tell you anyone's name involved. So we tried getting back together a couple times, and then he broke up with me, ghosted me for 8 months, and then she added me on Facebook and started like texting me while I was on vacation with my parents, and it was just like, you ruined my life, you did so and so, like, why would you get in between us? And I'm like, I didn't think you guys were together. I don't know you. I don't know your business. I'm not in your relationship. Like, I'm an outsider. I was the other person. So she paid for his entire vacation. This is what she told me, and I'm sure it's true because why would you lie about this? She paid for his entire vacation to go to the beach with her and her whole family. And he thought it would be a great idea during the vacation that she paid for to tell her that he was in love with me instead of her. Make that make sense. Wait till you get back. Do it beforehand. Don't do it on vacation. Because, like, not only, obviously it's heartbreaking to hear that from anybody. I would be devastated. But to do that on vacation that you paid for is like a whole other burn that you don't want to experience ever. Because you have to deal with being on vacation with her entire family, first off. Second off, obviously they're sharing a bed or something. There's no way they're not. And then I'm not sure if this is a Halloween before the vacation or after, but I saw her pop up on my Facebook recommended recently, and I was like, I need to see if this thing was real. Like, you know how sometimes your memory can play tricks on you and whatnot, and I'm like, was this an actual thing that happened? So I'm scrolling through she has a kid now. So many photos. I have to scroll through all the kid photos. Also, maybe don't post that many pictures of your kids online. There's some like really strange, weird people out there. No, not doing it. If I have a kid, either blurred face or like one photo a year, you're not gonna know what my kid looks like every hour of the day. No way. But to bring it back, scrolling. I'm at the library trying to get some remote work done. But I'm like determined, like I'm going through this. Like I need to see if my brain was playing tricks on me. Okay, I find it. She has an apron on that says Ho Depot and then ready to wreck your home. Something along those lines. And has my name on a name tag and her posed with a hammer. And I'm just like, you guys didn't live together. You weren't engaged. You don't have a kid together. Granted, once I found out she existed, should I have backed off? Yeah. But, I was just a kid. I just graduated high school. And, it's just one of those weird things that you're like, ugh. Like, why did I do that? Why was I involved? But since it's Halloween, I felt like this was something I needed to look up. And then just ruin my own day all day. Just something you do sometimes. You're like, oh, was this really awful and traumatic thing real? Oh, yeah, it was. Day ruined. Completely messed my whole day up. No doubt about it. And what really helps is like having a physical journal to write things down, and you can like scribble and be angry. I did not bring my journal to the library that day, so I'm just tippy-tapping away, angry, dear ex's name, you're horrible, blah, 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 blah. Never sending it to this person. Don't openly tell people like that how you feel. It's just going to result in more pain and hurt. Not worth it. So here's some advice to some people. A, if you find out you're the other woman, block everybody involved. B, do not flirt with somebody who's dating somebody else. It's going to like make you look bad, and it's going to make you feel bad, and it's going to make everyone involved feel horrible. Not worth it. So many people in the world, do not do it. Another piece of advice, do not try to date or reach out to anybody who is friends with your ex. And that's from my fault right there. Don't do that. Not involved with the story. Just some basic advice, do not do it. Another advice, do not meet up with somebody you had just met on Tinder that day. I'd never done that, but that sounds like good advice. And you know what? I think we should start doing a dating advice segment, because I feel like I've sort of got things figured out. I'm 25. So if you want to go ahead and DM me, I feel like advice segment could be really fun. So if you want to DM me at Out and Down Pod, feel free. Or if you just want to say hi, really appreciate it. Would love chatting with some people. Granted, I know a lot of listeners are just close friends. And you know what, close friends? I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening. But good news for you guys, we still got 20 minutes. So let's talk about movies. I've been renting a bunch of movies from the library lately, and there's some that really stand out. First being Licorice Pizza. So I watched that one last week. If you're not familiar, I'll do a brief synopsis. So this girl is working for a photography company, and she meets this 15-year-old boy who's obsessed with her. They end up going into business together, but like they have some like strange attraction, and it's just like a whole thing. And I would recommend the movie. The only thing that I would definitely take caution to is that she is 25 or 28 and he is 15 years old. So I wouldn't pay attention to the relationship at all, but it is a really good movie. And is it shitty for me to be like that? Yeah. But I think the movie is also self-aware, because there's multiple times where she's like, "Hey, I'm too old for you." They do end up kissing on the mouth. So, I don't know, just take it with a grain of salt. Another one I had high expectations for was Infinity Pool. It has Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth. And I tell you, I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10. That movie could have had way more like in-depth looks, and there's a lot of times you're like, what's actually real, like what's going on. And definitely just something to dive deeper into. Like, you ever watch a movie and you're like, I would have done that this way, not that way. But it was good. It was good. So I'll do a brief summary of that one too. So this guy goes on vacation with his wife. They like meet a couple, and basically they find out that if you do a serious crime, they can just clone you if you have enough money. And that's like a really interesting concept to bounce off of. And then he gets involved in like some rich people circle. Would recommend. Definitely would recommend. But guys, you know who I'm seeing in concert tonight that I'm really excited about? Ooh, Joji. And you know how I found Joji was. I was in my freshman year of college at the community college I went to. And this kid, he wasn't a kid, obviously we're in college, but this guy who I guess worked like 60 hours a week was really into Joji, and he showed it as like his stress relief song in a stress management class that I was like, oh, this is a good elective for my first semester in the psychology area. I'm like, okay, I'll take this class. He plays Slow Dancing in the Dark. I immediately am like, this song's so good. And I was going through a messy breakup. I would listen to the song, slow down, and then I would listen to it sped up through literally YouTube. Obsessed with this song. Literally obsessed. And so my best friend, also obsessed. I think me and her aren't exactly obsessed, we're just fans, you know. But it's so interesting to see, like, I like a lot of pop punk emo stuff. You could see an emo pop punk band anywhere between like $18 and maybe $60 with the fees included. And it's so crazy to be seeing like a bigger artist that has like millions and on millions listeners, because you have to go to arena, and I'm not really sure how this is gonna play out. Like, it could either be like entertaining from the stands, or it could be like boring, because the only other arena tour I've gone to, I saw Demi Lovato in concert. It was supposed to be Ariana Grande, but she looked a donut, yada yada yada, free concert, whatever, I'll go. But I've never gone for an artist I actually liked. So this will be interesting. I'm getting to the age right now where I'm like, should I pay double and get sit down seats, or should I be in the pit? And I'm thinking about starting to go in the stands. But it's like I might have FOMO because I like being around other people in the crowd. But sometimes I feel like there's pressure to have like a great time. And I'm going to explain that as the closer you are, the more rowdy the fans are, the more you're likely to get pushed around. And that's a great feeling if it's your favorite band. But one of my favorites is going to be there. So I can't deny that. One of my older favorites, like Neck Deep, I would consider them like OG pop punk, because that's what I grew up on in high school, which is weird to think about, because older people grew up on like Blink-182. Blink-182 is still good. I've listened to them a little bit. But it's like, do I want to get the like nice seats, or do I want to get standing room? Because I'm not really sure which one I'll do for this one, because I am getting older, but I feel like I'm still at the perfect age where I could be in the crowd and be fine. Just one of those things I really need to sit down and think about. Because personally, I've been more into going to comedy shows lately, because comedy shows last 2 or 3 hours tops. Concerts are like 5 hours. It just sounds so nice, because comedy shows, obviously you're having a great time, you're laughing, you're not getting suffocated by people jumping on you. You know, it's a great time. You sit there, laugh, whatever. I'm going to 2 comedy shows next month. I'm seeing Pete Davidson, amazing, wonderful, been following him for over a decade. Love Pete Davidson. And honestly, screw you if you don't like Pete Davidson, because that guy is hilarious. And you know what? I think people are just jealous by how many beautiful women he's dated. And I feel like people like that need to do some inner reflecting. And then also, I'm seeing Jacob Sharp, really good. Really, really good. But here's the kicker. So I got a seasonal job at a big store, as I mentioned earlier, and I might have to go into work at 5 a.m. until 1-ish if I go to the comedy shows, which I am definitely going to do. I'm definitely going to those. And it's like, I should be fine, but there's the whole thing of, so when I was in college, I would go to sleep sometimes at 8 a.m. and wake up at like 4. So I could go to my job, come home and work, and go to sleep. So wake up, work, sleep. Wake up, work, homework, sleep. Something along those lines. And now that I'm not in college, I feel like my time has changed. Not obviously. If you've never listened before, I had a puppy, spent a bunch of time off work. Now I have no puppy. And my life has been so stress-free, so incredible. Oh my gosh. If you have a pet and they're making you feel bad, they're probably feeling bad, so you should consider another home. That'd be my pet advice. But to bring it back, I am swapping my schedule out completely, sleep-wise. Personally, if I had it my way, I'd wake up every day at 10 or 11. Perfect time. You know, it's not too cold out. The sun's out. You won't really miss much. Because it's not like I commute. I mean, sometimes I'll go to the library and get work done, but that's way different. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. So if anybody has any advice for waking up early, please tell me. Because I feel like it'll be easy, since obviously that's what a bunch of people did for like middle and high school. But somebody give me some adult advice. I love energy drinks. If you have any recommendations, throw them at me. Also, if anyone has any tips on quitting nicotine, please tell me as well. Like, why does it taste so good? Why is it so yummy tasty? Why is it so tasty in my belly? Please let me know. Because it doesn't feel tasty in my throat. But when that dopamine hits, yum, give me more, cannot get enough. Seriously. So, to end my podcast on a serious note, I think we should keep Palestine in our thoughts. They have been getting massacred for decades on decades. And we really need to step up our caring game. Not to pick sides, but, you know, so for my job, I see old tapes, and Palestine, definitely the group that gets massacred the most. And honestly, I think people should keep Israel and Palestine in their thoughts. Try not to be too biased. But if you have the money, I would recommend throwing some money at them for some aid. And also, on another note, did you guys know, so I've been watching Instagram Reels for a long time. I'm starting to finally get the informational ones that I need. Did you know that prison inmates like make a bunch of stuff that we use every day, like chairs, tables, artisanal cheese, whatever, in labor camps that pay them less than $1 an hour to get this stuff done? Did you guys know that? Because I didn't know that. And I feel like that's something that should be public knowledge. And I feel like lately I've been really starting to recognize how much white privilege I really have. Because I can't put myself in the shoes of somebody of a different, diverse background. And, yeah, I'll never know what it's like to be in the shoes of people less fortunate in minority groups that get targeted by police force especially. We keep sending money to these places to aid their personal conflicts, right? Mostly for financial gain. And it's like, why aren't we helping our own people? When people come to the United States, they have to get a warning that says there's gun violence here, I believe. If not, please correct me, but I'm pretty sure that's a thing. And it's like, we just need so much funding for educational programs, mental health programs, women's rights, minority rights, LGBT rights, fair wages, and helping other people when we should help ourselves first. Because I remember being in Girl Scouts, and they would even say, take care of yourself before you offer to take care of others, because otherwise you're just damaged. Like, I don't know if it's exactly Girl Scouts or just like my grandma's advice, but help yourself before you can offer to help others, because otherwise you're going to end up bringing yourself down. And I think that's really important to think about, especially in relationships, because I have a few friends that are single. They sometimes ask me for advice, and it's like, my advice would just be to hang in there and If you want to seek it out, it can happen. But I asked one of my old coworkers that I saw the other day, I'm like, do you have any good relationship advice? And he said, figure out what you have to offer. Like, you don't have to exactly love yourself. Does everybody love themselves? No. Like, I like myself, I would say. Do I love myself? To an extent. But figure out what you have to offer. What do you give to the table? I think a lot of people today, like, focus too much on, like, icks. Like, oh, I choose food loud, or her hair looks a little greasy, you know, like, stupid little small stuff. And it's like, we focus so much on perfection because that's what we see, TVs, movies, magazine, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. And I feel like we need to stop seeing the world in such an airbrushed way. Because has anybody taken public transport recently, or like been in the grocery store and you see people and you're like, oh, like this is what people look like? Because sometimes I feel that way where I'm out. I'm like, okay, I'm normal, you know? Like I look like a person. And it's so hard to feel that way because I have acne since I've gotten my IUD put in, and it's just one of those things where I look in the mirror, I'm like, I'm a monster, I look like an evil witch. And it's so gross of me to think that way because not everybody deals with acne. I think at one point in your life, especially when you're a teenager, you do, but I'm an adult with acne, which makes me feel even worse about it. And it's like I'm trying different ways to make it look better, and I've thought about going to the dermatologist, but there's only so much things I can afford in life. I put my mental health before my physical health on the daily. Because if you're not mentally healthy and you're not eating very well, you're going to feel the consequences. And those consequences do not feel good. But, dude, it's just spots on my face. It just flares up, you know? What's the difference between having acne and other skin stuff like eczema or dry skin, you know? My skin's just gonna look like skin, and your skin's just gonna look like skin. You can't airbrush reality. And I think the older I get, the more I appreciate, like, that I'm alive and I have acne, I have stretch marks, I get my hands sometimes when I'm in the kitchen can get cuts or burns, you know. I have freckles, I have moles, I have tattoos, and tattoos I've added on, obviously, but they're a part of me, and I'm not me without acknowledging that I'm me, if that makes sense. There's nothing better than getting out of the shower when you're nice and clean, looking in the mirror and being like, okay, that's me. No makeup, wet hair, you know, it's the eyeshadow at the end of the day, and I'm like, I got the end of the day bloated body. I'm like, that's me, you know, and I'm happy to be alive for the most part. I'm thankful every day that I wake up and I get to live life the way I want to. And I know it's hard, especially like living in like a semi-developed country where you're like have to sacrifice like mental health for work a lot of the time. And it's something I think my generation, Gen Z, is really trying to figure out. Do we need to work as hard as we've been working for generations, or can we actually take some time to breathe and relax? Because nobody wants to do the same thing every day. And if you do, kudos to you. I'm not like that. I feel like if I do the same thing every day, my mind gets numb and my brain fills in the blanks. And I don't like the feeling of driving somewhere and not remembering my entire trip because my brain filled the blanks in. Not a big fan of that. And it's just so important to plan things to get excited about that aren't work related. I love doing game nights. I love doing nice dinners like every month or so. You know, I love changing my makeup up. I love watching my hair grow. I love watching my fingernails grow. I love watching my face age. And it's something I feel like a lot of people don't really think about. Because, so I shaved my head in January, as I've mentioned. It's been so intriguing to know how I feel about myself when my hair is different lengths. When my hair was shorter, I was more insecure. And now my hair is like almost a bob. And I haven't felt this good about it in a long time. But now I've been getting compliments. And it's going to get longer and longer. And I'm excited for it. I also get excited about the gray hairs, you know. It is truly a privilege to get older and older every year. And I used to not think this way when I was a teenager or even a few years ago. But I really do feel good about being me, you know. And that's just the fact of getting out of early 20s, getting into mid-20s. and really learning who you are, what you want to do, and how you want to live. Because I feel like a lot of people are held back by what other people want them to be, like their family wants them to be, or like society. And I feel like it's really important to like branch out and try new things and make new experiences. Even if that means like, I don't encourage credit cards, but I kind of do, because I feel like it's best to have new experiences while you're younger and not tied into anything. And honestly, I encourage people to get a credit card and just like go on little vacations. Don't spend like $10,000, but spend just enough where you feel comfortable and you feel more refreshed when you get home. And I feel like that's something we don't really do. Cause yeah, is it tempting to like lay in bed and like watch little videos either on like Instagram, whatever, TikTok? It's so tempting to do that, but when you do that, I feel like you're taking like hours of your life and throwing them in the garbage. And am I guilty of also doing this? Yeah, feels great, little dopamine. And I feel like that's what a lot of people are chasing. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap. Thank you for listening. This has been Out and Down Pod. Feel free to reach out, say hi. And I'm out, and I hope that you're not down.